Hey Jess, it's Kyler, and this is my final for the CM400 class. Oh, I'm gonna get my head in the picture there. There we go. I know the hair's kind of tall. So some experiences in CM345 and CM400 that were really foundational to me. CM345, he just had us talk every single class. Scott did, and just practicing it by doing the thing consistently, making sure that every single class we came and we spoke in front of people, getting used to it, getting comfortable doing that was really, really helpful. But I think even more importantly was something that's carried forward, into CM400 is bringing something that you not only have like thought about to speak about in class, but have practiced beforehand and practiced with somebody, because it's good to get in the habit of not get in the habit of stepping on stage and just winging it every time. And that's when the really best the best storytellers, they come alive in those moments when it feels like it's natural, it feels like it's coming out of nowhere and it's being winged, but it's been meticulously constructed along the way. So I think that's really important. And I learned that in CM345. We also read the Buchner text, Gospel is Tragedy, Comedy, and Fairy Tale. I think it's called Telling the Truth is the official title. But this book introduced me to the possibility of looking at like a larger story and seeing it in different perspectives, seeing it from different angles. This was something I hadn't ever really thought about before. I looked at the story from the one angle, and the angle was the angle of whomever I thought was the protagonist of the story. And this book kind of introduced me to the possibility that the same story can be more than one thing at the same time, and that neither of those is right or wrong necessarily. And I think in a lot of ways that's actually even a representation of my whole journey at Warner Pacific College, and just learning to look at different perspectives. Another thing we did in CM345 that I thought was really, really helpful was watching other good speakers consistently and just analyzing them. Mike Birbiglia was my favorite of these. I've come to really, really appreciate him as a storyteller, and I love to see the way he crafts and how he invites an audience into a transformation with one overarching storyline that he somehow weaves a million other tiny stories and anecdotes into. And ultimately, that's my goal to be able to do, because I think it's so effective. And without even knowing it, the audience is brought on a whole journey with him, and they enjoy it every step of the way. CM400 in this class, developing the Night of Stories was a huge learning experience for me. I'm an intellectualist first and foremost, so crafting a story from an artful perspective, or like intentionally being artistic about it, was uncomfortable for me, because it's not my default. But I think that I actually grew a lot through it, and it gave me an opportunity to generate something out of my knack for finding metaphors. So I was really proud of that, especially the Superman one. I think came together really well. Figuring out how to place my speech or my talk, whatever, within the whole of it was really interesting as well. Figuring out how to split it in half, how to drop it off, leave people wanting more, and then to pick right back up on the other side of Forrest's story. That was a new experience for me, but definitely helped me learn. And passing the torch, honestly, I learned a lot through that experience. Showed me just how crucial it is to have fun. Like you can't be you can't be an effective communicator if people don't enjoy being there and enjoy listening to you. And obviously the people we had around the table were people of our community, but we just kind of got to be silly. Even in making the music video, like we just had to go be a dork, and sometimes this was hard for some of us, like Aiden. But I went into this with this mindset of just, I'm going to dive in, I'm going to throw like my pride out the window and just go have fun and be a goofball, because it's going to produce this really entertaining thing to watch later in the music video. And it did. And I think that that's really representative of sometimes to be a good public speaker, or at least to be entertaining, you have to set aside like your pride. You have to remember not to take yourself too seriously. So that's something that I learned a lot through this event. As far as my creative process goes, I don't really have too firm of a grasp on it yet. I know it all starts with curiosity and goes downhill from there. I'm just always asking questions, always bumping into connections that I'd never had seen before because of these questions. And that's always the start of my creative process. I think that I'd love to come across like a structure or a formula for consistently generating like effective stories, effective talks that are both entertaining and really communicate my message well. I haven't found that thing yet, but I'm working towards it. And how I plan to do that in the summer, one thing I would love to do is, even from this point on, just write one sermon every week. Forrest and I actually talked about this, and we might end up making some sort of bet or some sort of deal on doing it. But I think it would just be great to consistently immerse myself in creating storylines and practicing the writing aspect of it, because it'll get better and better and better over time. Just like songwriters are supposed to write a song every day. If I can do one sermon per week, I think it would really improve me as a writer. And if I can improve my writing, my speaking, the talks I give will become more effective. They'll be more successful. So hopefully Forrest and I can get into some of that this year. Thank you so much for this class. It's been an awesome year. I will miss you as I graduate, but thanks for everything.